Title: Chronicle of the Seers Orb. A story by Ariel Sparks. A novel first draft. Copyright Ariel Sparks 2025. Chapter 9.
Welcome to the Whispering Grove. The following morning, Alara awoke to the gentle coo of a distant bird, its song echoing through the chamber's vaulted ceilings. The craft of the ancients had painted the walls with a mural of stars that twinkled in the dim light, and the large recessed windows revealed the promise of a new day. The bed beneath her was indeed as large as the bedroom floor of her cottage, its soft embrace a stark contrast to the hard reality of her destiny. Her thoughts turned to the strange jointed vehicle they had used to traverse the distance from the freshwater lagoon to the grand elder chamber. It had moved with a grace that defied her understanding, as if it were a creature of the ancients itself. The way it had glided above the earth, kept aloft by forces unseen, was enigmatic, leaving her with more questions than answers. Adana looked up from her scroll, the light from the dawn kissing her cheeks and casting an ethereal glow that made her look as if her whole form was a halo. Her eyes, usually lost in the depths of ancient tomes, were now sharp and alert. She took a sip from her steaming cup, the liquid within it a deep, rich brown that wafted a scent of exotic lands. "Oh, you're awake," she said, her voice a melodious tenor. She set down her brew and approached Alara gracefully. "You slept like the dead, young seer." A twinkle in her eye that suggested she had been waiting for this moment. Alara yawned, stretching her limbs like a cat in the sun. "Indeed," she said, her voice still thick with sleep. It was an overwhelming day. She looked around the chamber, her eyes tracing the intricate carvings of ancient tales. "I feel as if I've been swept up in a river of fate, and I'm not sure I like the current." Adana chuckled, the sound a soft ripple in the stillness of the chamber. "Fear not, young one," she soothed. "The ancients are a gentle guide, though their paths may seem tumultuous at first." She gestured to the tree trunk that formed one wall of the chamber, its gnarled bark a silent testament to the endurance over countless seasons. "This tree has stood sentinel over guardians for generations, ushering their destinies into being." Alara, feeling the weight of her new role, sat up in the vastness of the ancient bed. She swung her legs over the side. The soft fur of the bedspread held the warmth of the lands from which it had come. "But how am I to prepare for such a destiny?" she asked, her voice a soft tremor amidst the grandeur. Adana's smile was as bright as the first light of dawn, full of promise and warmth. "All will be revealed in time, dear child," she said. "But for now, let us focus on the immediate. You must be clean, fed, and presented to the villagers. They have awaited for a new seer with anticipation." Alara nodded, feeling the weight of her destiny settle upon her shoulders like the cloak of an ancestor. With a grace that seemed to belie her newfound role, she swung her legs over the side of the massive bed, and her feet searched for the ladder that had been thoughtfully placed there. The wooden rungs creaked their greeting as she descended. The chamber was as vast as the night sky, filled with works of the ancients that seemed to resonate in every corner. She crossed the stone floor and came upon a door. Carved into the trunk of the ancient tree that formed the chamber's wall, it stood ajar. It revealed a chamber of wonders, a place where the ingenuity of the ancients had been harnessed to create something that defied the very fabric of her understanding. Alara stepped inside, the scent of river stone and blooming flowers wafting around her in an invisible embrace. A gentle stream of water flowed from a carved stone lion's mouth, burbling a soft melody that filled the space with a tranquil serenity. The water was clear, and it beckoned her to wash away the dust of her journey and prepare for the trials ahead. With a sense of reverence, Alara approached the basin, its edges worn smooth by the hands of countless guardians before her. The water, seemingly alive with the essence of the ancients, shimmered with an otherworldly light. As she bathed, a cacophony of advice and wisdom started swirling around her like leaves caught in an autumn breeze. When she emerged, her skin was as fresh as the spring's first blossom. Adana awaited her, a knowing smile playing upon her lips. The scholarly sage took her hand, and together they stepped into the corridor, the air thick with the anticipation of a new dawn. The passageways of the Grand Elder Chamber resonated with the echoes of generations, the very stones speaking of the countless lives that had shaped the destinies of those who had come before. "Alara," Adana said, her voice a gentle coaxing, "have you not wondered about the size of the guardians here in the grove?" Sensing her penchant curiosity. The young girl looked up at the sage, her eyes wide. "They are as large as the tales my mother used to spin," she mused. "How is it that they are so—" Adana's smile was warm. "You see, Alara," she began, her voice a gentle stream of knowledge, "it is the way of nature. Those born to the lands of deep winter, where the sun's kiss arrives only in 2 seasons, they grow in a different cadence. Their youth is similar to your own, but unlike the villagers of Van der Wood, their growth does not end with the onset of adulthood. They continue to stretch skyward, drawing sustenance from the earth and the warmth of our closest star." Alara looked at her with wonder, her eyes reflecting the unanswered questions she still held. "But why do they not shrink as the seasons wax and wane?" she asked, her curiosity a living, breathing thing. "Ah, child," Adana chuckled, "the lands of the ancients are as varied as the wind. Those born to the embrace of the equator, where the sun kisses the earth with a fiery passion, they grow quickly, like the grasses of the savanna after the rains. But the lands of your ancestors are as stoic as the mountains, their growth a slow march." She gestured to the towering guardians they passed to highlight the contrast. "Also, child, the span of your lives are not as long on this world." "But what of their skin, Adana? Does the sun's warmth not kiss us as it does in your lands, giving them a darker hue?" she urged. "Indeed, child, the embrace of the sun is as varied as the ancients themselves. Those who bask in its warmth daily, their skin takes on the deep, rich tones of the earth, a testament to their bond with the lands beneath the equator." Her eyes swept over Alara, lingering on the girl's fair skin, a stark contrast to the warm tones of the guardians around them. "Yet, it is not the color of one's skin that dictates the depth of their soul, nor the charity of their character." They emerged from the chamber into a clearing, the sun's warm embrace greeting them with the gentle caress of a lover's hand. The air was alive, a symphony of voices that seemed to resonate with every breath she took. Alara squinted into the light, her eyes adjusting to the vibrancy of the world outside the chamber's dim embrace. "But the grove," she began, her voice filled with wonder. "It is not very far from my village. We share the same sun, do we not?" Adana's eyes twinkled with the mirth of a shared secret, then replied, "Indeed, Alara, you and I bask in the same solar kiss, yet the Whispering Grove is a bastion, an outpost nestled in the embrace of the ancients, where guardians from distant lands are called to serve." The sage leaned in closer, her voice hushed. "Our kinfolk may share the same sky, but our destinies are bound to lands afar, to places where the sun's caress is but a memory in the cold grip of winter." She gestured to the towering guardians, their skin a rich tapestry of sun-kissed hues. "These gentle giants, they are the wardens, the guardians of the balance that resonate through the very fabric of our world." With a sense of newfound understanding, Alara nodded. "I shall bear this in mind," her voice clear, "for it is the humanity of our hearts and not the color of our skin that truly define us." They walked towards the gathering of the grove's residents. The structure that lay ahead, nestled within the embrace of the grand ferns and willow trees, was indeed an architectural marvel. It resembled an inverted bird's nest, its woven wooden beams stretching outwards to create a vast open chamber that seemed to defy gravity. The villagers, a vibrant tapestry of the grove's diverse inhabitants, had congregated within this grand hall. Long tables, laden with an assortment of exotic fruits and delicacies, stood as sentinels of communal feasting. The air was abuzz with 100 conversations, the laughter and chatter a delightful cacophony that spoke of camaraderie and anticipation. "Welcome, young seer," Arafa greeted her, the language of a bountiful bouquet blooming in her rich timbre. Her eyes searched Alara's. "I trust you found your rest as rejuvenating as the embrace of the earth after a summer shower." Alara nodded, a chuckle escaping her lips. "Indeed," she said, "I slept like the river's flow, unceasing yet ever restful." Arafa's visage had transformed with the lightness of the new day. Gone was the stern guardian who had first approached her at Vonda Wood, replaced by a figure of grace and warmth. Her eyes danced with a mirth that Alara had not seen before, and the way she moved, light on her feet, suggested a hidden spring beneath her robes. The long, flowing dress she wore, soothed of a softness that was as unexpected as the gentle breeze that had carried her to the grove. Her curly hair had been styled, her braids now wrapped into two playful buns atop her head, revealing a jocular nature that seemed at odds with the gravity and stature of her role. The villagers greeted Alara with a fanfare that was as unexpected as it was overwhelming. They had gathered in the grand hall, their faces a canvas of excitement and anticipation. The voices grew louder, a crescendo of welcomes and greetings that washed over her like a wave of warmth. The guardians parted to make way for her, their expressions a mix of curiosity and respect. The children's eyes were round, as the moon in a cloudless night, their excitement a delightful symphony that made her heart swell. Alara was led to the high table, where the most esteemed members of the grove sat. They offered her a seat that seemed to have been carved by ancients, a throne of sorts that reflected the responsibilities she would soon bear. The feast before her was a cornucopia of flavors, each dish a serving of the lands from which the guardians had come. The smells danced in her nose, a tantalizing waltz that spoke of distant lands and exotic spices. As she took her seat, the voices grew into a crescendo, a symphony of welcome that made her cheeks flush with both excitement and a hint of apprehension. Arafa raised her arms, and the din of voices fell away, hushed as leaves falling from a tree in the autumn wind. "Let us feast," she declared, her voice a clarion call that resonated through the chamber. The meal was a kaleidoscope of flavors, each dish a flavor of lands untouched by the cold embrace of winter. Alara sampled the offerings with a tentative grace, her eyes widening with each new taste that danced upon her tongue. The villagers watched her with the expectant gazes of eager children, eager to see if she enjoyed the feast they had prepared in her honor. "This is amazing," Alara murmured, her voice a soft melody amidst the clatter of dishes and the hum of conversation. Arafa, seated at her side, chuckled warmly. "Each guardian brings a piece of their homelands to our table," she said, gesturing to the array of food that stretched out like a painter's palette before them. "It is a testament to the unity of our people, a celebration of our shared destinies." Alara felt a sense of belonging wash over her, like the warmth of a campfire on a cold night. Her eyes danced from face to face, each one telling a story as intricate as the carvings on the chamber walls. The villagers spoke of their origins, their stories weaving a tapestry of diverse lands and cultures, each thread adding to the richness of the grove. One by one, they led her to their abodes, nestled within the embrace of the ancient trees, homes that seemed to embody of the very essence of the knowledge they guarded. The craftsmanship was as intricate as the stalks themselves, each twig and vine a testament to the guardian's love for the land. The warm glow from the bioluminescent fungi painted the walls with a soft light, as if the ancients had painted a gentle glow across the canvas of their lives. In one such dwelling, a burly guardian named Kofi regaled her with tales of the great hunt, his voice a baritone that rumbled like distant thunder, his eyes, as warm as the glow of a campfire, crinkled with mirth as he recounted his youthful escapades. His wife, a woman named Yara, whose skin was as smooth as the polished stones of the riverbed, listened with a knowing smile, her eyes bright with a heavenly sparkle. Kofi's tales of the great hunt were as vivid as the images her father had painted with his words, yet they resonated with a different frequency. His words were those of a guardian who had lived the stories, whose very essence was intertwined with the land's heartbeat. She listened intently, her imagination conjuring scenes of fierce beasts and daring feats, the thrill of the chase and the camaraderie of the hunt. Alara, eager to contribute to the symphony of tales being told, shared stories from her own childhood in Vahanda Wood. Her voice was gentle, her thoughts a stream, carrying tales of her mother's wisdom and her father's valor. The villagers leaned in, their eyes aglow with the warmth of shared experiences, finding kinship in the familiar cadences of human emotion. They spoke in proverbs, their words timeless. "Oh, yes," Adana nodded sagely, "the proverb of the wise. An acorn knows its value is not in the speed of its descent, but in the strength of its roots." The voices grew, each guardian adding their own to the chorus, sharing tales of their lands and the events that had led them to the grove. The air was thick with the sweet perfume of unity, a bouquet of shared destinies that filled Alara's heart. And so, she concluded, her tale of the Vanderwood Harvest Festival, my father, with a flourish and a declaration of his own, crowned me the queen of the harvest. The villagers chuckled in unison, their eyes gleaming with the warmth of shared amusement. It was as if the very air within their home had thickened into a syrup of camaraderie and goodwill. Each guardian, regardless of their stature or the station they guarded, contributed to the symphony of laughter, their mirth a testament to the unity that bound them all. "Indeed," said Kofi, "your father sounds like quite the spinster of tales." His eyes twinkled with mirth, the enthusiasm of his own stories just waiting to be told. Alara nodded, her cheeks flushed with the warmth of nostalgia. "He was," she said. "His words painted vivid images of a world I longed to explore." Back in the nested hall, the villagers looked at each other, a shared understanding passing between them. They had all been called by purposes of their own, drawn from the four corners of the earth to serve as guardians of the grove. Each had a tale of their own, a thread in the tapestry of destinies that bound them together. "The bond of unity are the strongest of all," said Arafa, "for it is not the size of our lands or the might of our kin that makes us strong, but the bonds we share, the cord of our hearts, beating as one." With that, Arafa rose from her seat. "Now, young Alara," she said, "it is time for you to begin your true journey, a journey of the mind and spirit as much as of the body." She offered her hand, and Alara took it, feeling the gentle warmth of the sage's touch. They left the nested hall, the vibrancy of the villagers' laughter following them like a trail of sparks. The path ahead was lined with ancient trees, and their leaves, a gentle rustle in the breeze. "Alara," she began, "tomorrow shall be the first of your trials, but think not of them as tests, rather as the gentle coaxing of a bud to reveal its bloom." Her eyes sparkled with the same anticipation as the dew-kissed leaves that fluttered in the trees. "These are but assessments to discern where your ability shall resonate most truly within our sacred order." Adana's hand, warm and comforting, took Alara's as Arafa stepped aside, her own smile as bright as the dawn that had greeted them. "Fear not, for I shall be your guide through these uncharted waters," she said poetically. "Together, we shall navigate the currents of your destiny." They strolled through the grove, the echoes of the ancients growing more insistent with each step. The sun's warm kiss painted dappled patterns on the moss-covered ground, as if the earth itself were sharing its secrets. Adana spoke in riddles and metaphors, her words an enigmatic labyrinth. "Your first trial, young seer, is one of perception. To see beyond the veil that shrouds our world, to peer into the very fabric of existence itself." Alara's eyes sparkled with excitement. "How shall I begin?" she asked eagerly. "Patience, young one." Adana chuckled, her words a laminate flow. "Your journey begins tomorrow, when the sun has barely kissed the horizon. For now, let us prepare your mind." Adana led her to a secluded glade, the threads of the ancients weaving an invisible shield of privacy. The clearing was a sanctum of sorts, the very air humming with the anticipation of the trials to come. Here she would face the first of her challenges, a series of tests that would stretch her understanding of the abilities she had been chosen to guard. "Alara," she began, "you are to undergo 7 trials, each one a gateway to the next. Within each trial there are 5 sections, and each section will unfold over the course of a single day. The ancients have seen fit to grant you 2 days of respite each week, a time to reflect and allow the pulse of your heart and mind to intertwine with the lessons learned." The young seer's eyes grew as round as the orbs that had guided her to this very place. 7 trials, she murmured. "What wondrous challenges await me?" Adana's smile grew, her eyes as warm as a long-forgotten summer's day. "Dear child, each trial is a tapestry of wisdom and understanding, woven with the threads of your own experiences and the trials of those who have come before. Tomorrow, the week would begin. A series of trials that would stretch the fabric of Alara's reality, like the weaves of the ancients, stretched across the very fabric of the grove. Each trial, a puzzle piece in the grand mosaic of her destiny, waiting to be uncovered. Alara awakens to a world foreign to all her experiences, but observe personalities that are familiar. Please share and do comment if you can find the time, as your words can help to shape this book's final product for the better. Oh, and subscribe if you have not yet done so already. What are these trials, and how will our young seer fare? Find out next week in Chapter 10, Trials of the Seer.